Let's start on the inflation numbers for Tokyo because they came in hotter than expected.
Yes.
Now we're wondering what kind of inflation forecast the BOJ under Ueda, his first meeting, might have because they show an expectation of somewhat higher inflation. First of all, what is this hot CPI number for Tokyo telling us?
Yes. So it's mainly coming from food. 60% of this 3.5% inflation come from food. Another 10% come from eating out. So all related to food. However, I can see there is spreading out. This price hike are spreading out into the services and various sectors. So I think this gives a lot of pressure toward Bank of Japan, and then everybody will start to say BOJ should start to normalize monetary easing because this is a very high inflation and it partly come from yen's depreciation. So.
You're concerned about demand. A lot of people, including at the Bank of Japan, are concerned about demand, that this is too supply-driven, not enough demand-driven. Why?
So it's purely commodity-based. And then if we look at the demand side, for example, consumption, it's true the services consumption is picking up, but from low level. But if we look at, say, food consumption or like clothes consumption, those are staying stagnant. Actually, food consumption in real terms is dropping. So people try to save because it's a rising cost. So this is a clear sign that this is not demand-driven inflation.
And therefore not the sustainably and stable above 2% target that BOJ is looking for.
Clearly, if you look at the commodity prices, at contract prices, food and all commodity prices now we see some declining tendency. But however, due to the yen's depreciation, still quite high, right? But I think eventually we will start to see a slowdown in inflation. So I think Bank of Japan is right. Toward the end of this year, we will start to see inflation toward below 2%.
And yet, markets, investors, everybody's hearing the same thing. They're seeing the same numbers. They can, just what you said, many see that argument. And yet, many market participants are still waiting, eager, thinking something. If it doesn't happen at this meeting, sure, it could happen as soon as June. They're going to start tweaking YCC. They're going to do something. Why are they? What do you make of this push?
Yeah, so this time it's very interesting. It looks like a concerted effort from market and banking sector and try to encourage BOJ to normalize it. I think it's partly because since YCC was introduced in 2016, the interest rate margin is so low and very sluggish. And then right now, because of the BOJ's heavy involvement in the government bond market, almost no liquidity there, so not much transaction. So from financial sector's perspective, they cannot make a lot of money, right? So they don't want another 5 years to stay with this situation. So right now, inflation is above 2%. It's a good opportunity for BOJ to normalize it. However, it's a bit, it's contrary to what Ueda-san said. He wants to make sure underlying inflation will reach 2% in stable manner. That hasn't been realized yet.
Has Ueda maybe given us some comments, though, that are a bit confusing because, he's sure inflation is going to come down, too early to do anything, and yet there do seem to be a door open to YCC because of bond market functioning, those kinds of things. Exactly. That you get a mixed message?
Yeah, I think so. Because he keeps saying that 2% price stability is the most important thing, and he will maintain monetary easing until he will achieve 2% in stable manner. In the meanwhile, he said he pay attention to the side effect. So if monetary easing have to be continued, he will try to take care of it. But what does it mean? If it means like expanding 10-year yield target or shortening to 5-year yield or some tweak, but that is already a sign of normalization, right? It's going to be contradictory to the statement that he's going to maintain monetary easing. So we don't know what exactly he's talking about when he say he will take care of side effect.
So in a funny way, it seems that this is a very important day for Governor Ueda. Does he need to try to give us a clearer sense of what it is he's trying to say? When does normalization start? Does it start when you start adjusting yield curve control? And when does that happen?
Yeah.
Or does it not happen until you raise the negative rate, which people say couldn't happen for a couple of years?
Yeah, so on April 8th, the press conference, he said he's not going to normalize monetary easing or make big changes to the YCC just because side effects are deteriorating. He said he will look at the underlying inflation. He should stick to that. So he should try to explain what's happening to the underlying inflation. It's not coming from the demand side. So he should show the data and try to have a convincing argument rather than talking too much about side effect.
When do you think the Bank of Japan is going to start making these changes, actually starting to change the policy, change YCC?
It's very difficult to see, not this year, and then next year, because next year inflation will come down clearly below 2%. Right? It's very challenging for BOJ to make an adjustment. I think it takes a couple of years to see underlying inflation really get stronger based on current information.